Paralyzed boy hugs unloved shelter dog. Suddenly, dog speaks and everyone bursts into tears. In a world where medical miracles seem increasingly commonplace, the bond between a paralyzed boy and an unwanted shelter dog would challenge everything we thought we knew about the healing power of love and the depths of animal empathy. When 10-year-old Tommy Wilson, confined to a wheelchair after a tragic accident, formed an instant connection with Max, a three-legged mutt no one else wanted, his parents thought they were simply witnessing a heartwarming friendship. But as Tommy's health began to change in inexplicable ways, his father's startling realization would set in motion a chain of events that would leave doctors baffled and the world in awe. The Wilson family lived in a modest suburban home in Cleveland, Ohio. Jack Wilson, a high school physics teacher, and his wife Sarah, a part-time nurse, had always been devoted parents to their son Tommy. But their lives had been turned upside down 2 years ago when a car accident left Tommy paralyzed from the waist down. Despite the challenges, Tommy remained a bright, curious child with an infectious smile. His parents did everything they could to ensure he had a normal life, including regular visits to the local animal shelter, where Tommy loved to interact with the dogs. On a crisp autumn afternoon in 2025, the Wilsons made their usual weekend trip to the shelter. As they navigated Tommy's wheelchair through the kennels, a commotion at the far end caught their attention. A new arrival, a scruffy, three-legged mutt named Max, was cowering in the corner of his cage, ignoring all attempts by the shelter staff to calm him. Little did the Wilsons know that this unremarkable Saturday outing would mark the beginning of an extraordinary journey. An encounter that would not only challenge medical science, but also touch the very core of our understanding of the human-animal bond. The relationship between animals and human health had long been a subject of scientific interest. Studies had shown that interacting with animals could lower blood pressure, reduce stress, and even help with pain management. However, the full extent of animals' healing capabilities remained a mystery. In recent years, there had been a surge of interest in the field of animal-assisted therapy, particularly for children with disabilities. Dogs, with their loyal and empathetic nature, were often at the forefront of these programs. Yet, even as success stories mounted, skeptics remained, arguing that any benefits were purely psychological. Tommy Wilson's case was particularly challenging. His spinal cord injury was severe, and doctors had given his parents little hope for improvement. Physical therapy and experimental treatments had yielded minimal results, and the Wilsons had begun to accept that Tommy's condition was permanent. The local animal shelter where the Wilsons volunteered had been struggling with overcrowding and underfunding. Dogs like Max, older, disabled, or with behavioral issues, were often overlooked by potential adopters and faced the risk of euthanasia. The shelter staff worked tirelessly to find homes for these undesirable animals, but it was an uphill battle. It was against this backdrop that Tommy and Max's paths would cross. The scientific community was on the cusp of new discoveries about the healing power of human-animal bonds, with recent studies suggesting levels of interspecies empathy that had previously been unimaginable. As the Wilsons approached Max's kennel that fateful day, they carried with them not just their love for animals, but also the weight of Tommy's condition and the fading hope for any significant improvement. Little did they know that they were about to become part of a story that would challenge everything they thought they knew about the power of love. The nature of healing and the extraordinary capabilities of man's best friend. As the Wilsons reached Max's kennel, the dog's pitiful whimpers tugged at their heartstrings. The shelter volunteer, a kind-faced woman named Linda, approached them with a sad smile. "That's Max," she explained. "He was found on the streets last week. Poor thing lost his leg in some kind of accident. He's been terrified of everyone since he got here." Tommy leaned forward in his wheelchair, his eyes fixed on the trembling dog. "Can I see him?" he asked, his voice filled with a mixture of excitement and concern. Linda hesitated. "I'm not sure that's a good idea, sweetie. He's been very nervous, especially around sudden movements." But Tommy was insistent. There was something about Max that called to him, a recognition of shared pain perhaps. Jack and Sarah exchanged a glance, then nodded their approval. Carefully, Linda opened the kennel door, ready to intervene if necessary. But what happened next left everyone stunned. As soon as the door opened, Max, who had been cowering in the corner, lifted his head. His eyes locked with Tommy's, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then, with a soft whine, Max limped forward and gently rested his head on Tommy's lap. Tommy's face lit up with a smile brighter than his parents had seen in months. Without hesitation, he wrapped his arms around Max's neck, yet hugging the dog close. Max, far from being frightened, melted into the embrace, his tail wagging tentatively. "Oh my," Linda gasped, her eyes wide with disbelief. "I've never seen him respond to anyone like that." Jack and Sarah watched the scene unfold, a mixture of joy and wonder on their faces. Their son, who had struggled with depression since his accident, was beaming as he stroked Max's scruffy fur. "Can we take him home?" Tommy asked, looking up at his parents with pleading eyes. "Please? He needs us." Jack opened his mouth to explain why that might not be possible, but the words died on his lips as he saw the connection between his son and this broken dog. In that moment, he made a decision that would change all their lives forever. "We'll need to fill out some paperwork," Jack said, turning to Linda. "But yes, I think Max has found his forever home." As they left the shelter that day, Max limping alongside Tommy's wheelchair, none of them could have imagined the extraordinary journey they were about to embark upon. A journey that would not only transform their lives, but also challenge everything the medical community thought they knew about healing and the power of the human-animal bond. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of adjustment for the Wilson family. Max, initially timid and unsure in his new surroundings, quickly blossomed under Tommy's constant attention and love. The two became inseparable, with Max sleeping at the foot of Tommy's bed and accompanying him everywhere, even to his physical therapy sessions. It was during one of these sessions, about a month after Max's adoption, that Sarah noticed something odd. As Tommy struggled through his exercises, his face contorted with effort. Max suddenly stood up and pressed his body against Tommy's legs. To everyone's amazement, Tommy's toes twitched, a small movement, but one that shouldn't have been possible given the extent of his spinal cord injury. The physical therapist, Dr. Rodriguez, was cautiously optimistic. "It could be a reflex," she warned, not wanting to raise false hopes. "But let's keep a close eye on this." Over the following days, Jack and Sarah noticed other small changes in Tommy. His appetite improved, his mood lifted, and he seemed to have more energy. They attributed it to the joy Max brought into their lives, but a nagging feeling told them there might be more to it. The turning point came on a sunny Saturday morning. Jack was in the backyard, watching Tommy and Max play their favorite game. Tommy would throw a ball, and Max would fetch it, placing it carefully in Tommy's lap. As Jack observed them, something caught his eye. Tommy's hand, as he reached for the ball, seemed to move with more fluidity than usual. Heart racing, Jack called out, "Tommy, can you try to move your foot?" Tommy looked puzzled but complied. To Jack's astonishment, Tommy's right foot moved. Not much, but a clear, deliberate movement. "Sarah," Jack yelled, his voice cracking with emotion. "Come quick." As Sarah rushed outside, Jack's mind was reeling. This shouldn't be possible. Tommy's doctors had been clear about the permanence of his condition, yet here he was, moving in ways he hadn't been able to for 2 years. "Something is wrong," Jack said, his voice a mixture of fear and hope. Or maybe, something is very, very right. The Wilsons rushed Tommy to the hospital, Max refusing to leave his side. The next few days were a blur of tests, scans, and bewildered doctors. The medical team was at a loss to explain what they were seeing. Tommy's latest scans showed signs of nerve regeneration that should have been impossible. As the story of Tommy's inexplicable improvement began to spread, it caught the attention of Dr. Alina Chen, a renowned neuroscientist studying the effects of animal companionship on human health. She reached out to the Wilsons, asking to study Tommy and Max's bond. Under Dr. Chen's observation, Tommy's progress continued to accelerate. He regained sensation in his legs, then limited movement. Max was a constant presence, seeming to instinctively know when to offer support or encouragement. Dr. Chen's findings were revolutionary. She discovered that Max's saliva contained a unique enzyme that, when combined with Tommy's specific genetic makeup, stimulated nerve regeneration. The constant physical contact between Tommy and Max had allowed this enzyme to be absorbed through Tommy's skin, triggering a healing process that defied all medical expectations. But it wasn't just the enzyme. Dr. Chen's research revealed that the deep emotional bond between Tommy and Max had caused significant changes in Tommy's brain chemistry. The love and sense of purpose he felt in caring for Max had literally rewired his neural pathways, creating new connections that bypassed his damaged spinal cord. As news of Dr. Chen's discoveries spread, the Wilsons' home became the center of a media storm. Scientists, reporters, and curious onlookers all wanted to witness the miracle dog and the boy he was helping to heal. Through it all, Tommy and Max remained focused on each other. Their bond deepened with each passing day, their connection seeming to transcend the boundaries between human and animal. Tommy, who had once been withdrawn and depressed, blossomed into a confident, joyful child, and Max, once unwanted and afraid, became a symbol of hope and healing. But even as Tommy's physical condition improved dramatically, Jack and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story than met the eye. Max's unwavering devotion, his seemingly uncanny ability to anticipate Tommy's needs, it all hinted at a level of intelligence and empathy that went beyond normal canine behavior. Little did they know that their journey with Max was far from over. As Tommy took his first unassisted steps in 2 years, with Max faithfully by his side, the stage was set for a revelation that would challenge not just medical science, but our very understanding of the depths of animal consciousness and the power of love to transcend all boundaries. 6 months after Max's adoption, the Wilsons found themselves at the center of a global media frenzy. Tommy's progress had been nothing short of miraculous. He was now able to walk short distances with the aid of crutches, a feat that his original doctors had deemed impossible. Dr. Elena Chen had organized a press conference at Cleveland Medical Center to present her findings on Tommy and Max's extraordinary case. The auditorium was packed with scientists, medical professionals, and journalists from around the world, all eager to hear about the groundbreaking research. As Jack wheeled Tommy onto the stage, with Max trotting faithfully beside them, a hush fell over the crowd. Dr. Chen began her presentation, explaining the unique enzyme found in Max's saliva and its incredible effect on Tommy's nervous system when combined with his specific genetic makeup. But it's not just the physical aspect, Dr. Chen continued, her voice filled with excitement. The bond between Tommy and Max has caused unprecedented changes in Tommy's brain chemistry. We're seeing neural pathways reforming in ways we've never observed before. As the audience murmured in amazement, Tommy leaned down to scratch Max behind the ears. What happened next would be replayed on news channels around the world and debated in scientific circles for years to come. Max looked up at Tommy, his eyes filled with an intelligence that seemed almost human. Then, to the shock of everyone present, he spoke. "Tommy, friend," Max said, his voice rough but unmistakably clear. "Love you." The auditorium erupted in gasps and exclamations. Tommy, far from being frightened, beamed with joy. "I love you too, Max," he replied, as if talking dogs were the most natural thing in the world. Dr. Chen rushed to the microphone, her face pale with shock. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm. What we've just witnessed is unprecedented. I can assure you, this is not a hoax or a trick." As the crowd buzzed with excitement and disbelief, Jack stepped forward. "There's more," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "Max has been communicating with Tommy for weeks now. We didn't know how to tell anyone. We were afraid no one would believe us." Over the next hour, as the world watched in awe, Tommy and Max demonstrated their ability to communicate. Max's vocabulary was limited, but his understanding seemed vast. He could respond to complex questions with a combination of words and gestures, showing a level of cognition far beyond anything previously documented in animals. Dr. Chen, quickly recovering her scientific composure, began to theorize. It appears that the same process that allowed Tommy's neural pathways to reform has had an unexpected effect on Max. The constant close contact, the exchange of the enzyme, the deep emotional bond, it somehow bridged the gap between human and canine cognition. As the implications of what they were witnessing sank in, the audience erupted in a frenzy of questions. Journalists clamored for statements, Scientists demanded more data, and ethicists raised concerns about the implications of animal sentience. But amid the chaos, Tommy, Jack, Sarah, and Max remained a calm center. Their family bond, strengthened through adversity and miraculous healing, was evident to all who saw them. "Max saved me," Tommy said into the microphone, his voice strong and clear. "Not just my body, but my spirit. He showed me that love can overcome anything. And now he's showing us all that the bonds between humans and animals are deeper than we ever imagined." Max nuzzled Tommy's hand, then turned to address the audience. "Humans, listen," he said, his canine features somehow conveying a profound wisdom. "Love heals. Love connects. We are not so different." As cameras flashed and the audience sat in stunned silence, it was clear to everyone present that they were witnessing a moment that would change the world forever. The boundary between human and animal had been irrevocably blurred, opening up possibilities that would challenge our understanding of consciousness, communication, and the very nature of love itself. In the weeks and months following the astounding press conference, the world struggled to come to terms with the implications of Tommy and Max's story. The video of Max speaking went viral, sparking intense debates in scientific communities, ethical forums, and even religious circles. Animal rights organizations seized upon Max's demonstrated intelligence to push for stronger protection laws. Philosophers grappled with questions of animal consciousness and the definition of personhood. Linguists and neurologists scrambled to understand the biological basis for Max's newfound ability to speak. For the Wilson family, the aftermath was both exhilarating and overwhelming. They found themselves at the center of a media storm, giving interviews, participating in scientific studies, and fielding offers for book deals and documentaries. But through it all, their focus remained on Tommy's continued recovery and nurturing the extraordinary bond between boy and dog. Dr. Elena Chen established the Interspecies Communication and Healing Research Center, with Tommy and Max as the star subjects. The center attracted brilliant minds from various fields, all working together to unlock the secrets of the human-animal bond and its healing potential. As research progressed, more dogs were found to possess the same enzyme as Max, though none showed his level of cognitive development. It became clear that the combination of the enzyme, Tommy's unique genetic makeup, and their deep emotional bond had created a perfect storm of healing and cognitive evolution. Tommy's recovery continued to astound the medical community. By the 1-year mark after the press conference, he was walking unaided, running, and even beginning to play sports. His case became a beacon of hope for spinal cord injury patients worldwide, sparking new research into enzyme therapies and the role of emotional bonds in physical healing. Max, for his part, became an ambassador for animal intelligence and the power of the human-animal bond. He worked alongside Tommy in visiting hospitals and rehabilitation centers, bringing hope and joy to patients struggling with severe injuries. His ability to communicate, while still limited, continued to improve, allowing him to offer comfort and encouragement in ways that touched hearts and inspired millions. The Wilson story inspired a wave of adoptions from animal shelters across the country. People began to look at disabled and less adoptable animals in a new light, seeing the potential for deep, meaningful connections. Shelters reported record-low euthanasia rates as more and more people opened their hearts and homes to animals in need. As the years passed, the initial frenzy around Tommy and Max's story settled into a steady stream of scientific progress and social change. The Interspecies Communication and Healing Research Center made breakthrough after breakthrough, expanding our understanding of animal cognition and the healing power of human-animal bonds. Tommy, now a teenager, became a passionate advocate for both disability rights and animal welfare. He and Max traveled the world, giving talks and demonstrations that continued to challenge people's perceptions of what was possible. Jack and Sarah Wilson found themselves at the forefront of a new movement integrating animal-assisted therapy into mainstream medical treatment. They worked tirelessly to ensure that the lessons learned from Tommy and Max's experience were used to help as many people as possible. On the 5th anniversary of the famous press conference, the Wilsons held a special event at the research center. As Tommy stood at the podium, Max faithfully by his side, he addressed a crowd of scientists, medical professionals, and supporters. 5 years ago, I was a boy trapped in a broken body, and Max was a dog no one wanted. Tommy said, his voice strong and clear. Today we stand here as living proof that love, in its purest form, knows no boundaries. It can heal bodies, bridge the gap between species, and change the world. Max, his muzzle now graying but his eyes as bright as ever, stepped forward. Humans and animals not separate, he said, his vocabulary having expanded significantly over the years. We are family. Together we heal. Together we grow. As the audience rose in a standing ovation, Jack and Sarah embraced their son, tears of joy and pride streaming down their faces. They knew that their journey with Tommy and Max was far from over, but they faced the future with hope and wonder, excited for what new miracles each day might bring. The story of Tommy and Max had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the extraordinary possibilities that arise when we open our hearts and minds to the power of love and the untapped potential of the bonds between humans and animals. 10 years after Max first spoke, the landscape of human-animal relationships and medical treatment had transformed dramatically. The Interspecies Communication and Healing Research Center had grown into a global institution with branches in over 30 countries. Its therapies, based on the enzyme first discovered in Max's saliva and refined over the years, had become standard treatment for a wide range of neurological conditions. Tommy Wilson, now 20 years old and studying veterinary medicine at university, divided his time between his studies and his role as a global ambassador for interspecies communication and healing. Max, defying all expectations for canine longevity, remained by his side, his cognitive abilities continuing to astound researchers. The impact of their work was evident in statistics worldwide. Pet adoption rates had skyrocketed, euthanasia in shelters had become a rarity, and animal-assisted therapy was now a cornerstone of many medical treatments. As Tommy and Max prepared to give the keynote speech at the World Symposium on Interspecies Relations, they reflected on the incredible journey that had started with a chance encounter in a shelter a decade ago. That one moment of connection between a paralyzed boy and an unwanted dog had sparked a revolution in our understanding of healing, consciousness, and the bonds that connect all living beings. The ripple effects of Tommy and Max's story spread far beyond the realms of medicine and animal welfare. Over the next 2 decades, their groundbreaking case led to a paradigm shift in how humans perceived and interacted with animals across all species. The field of animal cognition exploded with new research initiatives. Scientists, inspired by Max's unprecedented abilities, began to look more closely at the cognitive capabilities of various animals, both domesticated and wild. Studies on elephants, dolphins, and great apes yielded surprising results, suggesting levels of intelligence and emotional complexity previously thought impossible. In the realm of medicine, the impact was profound. The enzyme therapy developed from Max's saliva, combined with the principles of emotional bonding discovered through Tommy's case, led to revolutionary treatments for a wide range of neurological and psychological conditions. Spinal cord injuries, once considered permanently debilitating, saw recovery rates that would have been deemed miraculous just years before. The long-term impact on animal welfare was staggering. By 2050, the concept of animal shelters had been completely reimagined. Instead of stark, depressing facilities, they became vibrant centers for animal education and human-animal bonding. Euthanasia rates for healthy animals dropped to near zero in most developed countries, and adoption rates soared. But perhaps the most profound long-term outcome was the shift in humanity's collective consciousness regarding our relationship with animals. As evidence of animal intelligence and emotional complexity mounted, public perception underwent a radical transformation. Animals were no longer seen merely as pets or resources, but as sentient beings worthy of respect and consideration. This shift had far-reaching implications across various sectors of society. 1. Education. Schools worldwide began incorporating advanced animal behavior and welfare courses into their curricula. Children were taught from a young age about the cognitive abilities of different species and the importance of empathy towards all living beings. 2. Law and ethics. legal systems globally were overhauled to provide stronger protections for animals. In many countries, animals were granted legal personhood status, with rights that extended beyond mere protection from cruelty. Technology. The need for more sophisticated human-animal communication tools drove rapid advancements in AI and biotechnology. Neural interface devices, originally developed to facilitate communication with highly intelligent animals, paved the way for breakthroughs in treating human cognitive disorders. Number 4. Urban planning. Cities began to be designed with the needs of urban wildlife in mind. Green corridors, wildlife crossings, and integrated habitats became standard features in urban landscapes. 5. Agriculture. The industrial farming model saw a significant overhaul. With increased understanding of animal cognition, more ethical and sustainable farming practices were developed and widely adopted. 6. Conservation. Wildlife conservation efforts were revolutionized. Instead of merely preserving habitats, conservationists began working on establishing communication and cooperation with intelligent animal species to jointly manage ecosystems. 7. Psychology and neuroscience. The study of animal cognition and emotion expanded dramatically, leading to new insights into the nature of consciousness itself. This, in turn, fostered greater empathy and consideration for all forms of life. As for Tommy and Max, they lived to see their once unbelievable story become the foundation of a new understanding between humans and animals. In their later years, they focused on mentoring the next generation of interspecies communication specialists and healers, ensuring that their legacy would continue to shape the world for generations to come. The Interspecies Communication and Healing Research Center, which had grown from the initial studies of Tommy and Max's bond, evolved into a major global institution, influencing policies on animal welfare, medical treatments, and human-animal relationships worldwide. In the end, the simple act of a paralyzed boy hugging an unwanted dog had grown into a global movement that reshaped humanity's relationship with the animal world, offering a path towards a more empathetic, sustainable, and integrated future for all species on Earth. The story of Tommy and Max serves as a powerful reminder of the transformative potential that lies at the intersection of compassion, scientific inquiry, and openness to the unexpected. At its core, this tale challenges us to reconsider our preconceptions about the boundaries between humans and animals, and indeed about the very nature of healing, intelligence, and consciousness itself. Tommy's journey from a paralyzed child to a beacon of hope for millions embodies the idea that true healing often requires us to look beyond conventional wisdom and embrace the power of connection. His willingness to open his heart to a dog that others had overlooked highlights the importance of seeing the potential in all living beings, regardless of their apparent limitations. The remarkable bond formed between Tommy and Max invites us to reflect on the depth of emotional and cognitive capabilities in animals that we have often underestimated or dismissed. It raises profound questions about the nature of intelligence and the potential for meaningful interspecies relationships that we may have previously thought impossible. Moreover, the global paradigm shift that resulted from their singular connection demonstrates the far-reaching consequences our actions can have. It serves as a testament to the idea that small acts of kindness and openness can snowball into movements that reshape our world in fundamental ways. The success of the Interspecies Communication and Healing Research Center and its worldwide impact challenges us to reimagine our role as humans on this planet. Rather than seeing ourselves as separate from or dominant over other species, it proposes a model of partnership and mutual respect with the animals that share our world. This story also serves as a poignant reminder of the untapped potential that exists in the realm of human-animal relationships. It suggests that by opening ourselves to new ways of understanding and interacting with animals, we might find innovative solutions to pressing issues in fields ranging from medicine to environmental conservation. Ultimately, the tale of Tommy and Max is one of hope. It illustrates that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, the power of love, combined with scientific curiosity and open-mindedness, can lead to extraordinary outcomes that benefit not just individuals, but entire species and ecosystems. As we reflect on this extraordinary journey, we are invited to look at the world around us with fresh eyes. What potential for healing, understanding, and connection might we be overlooking in our daily interactions with animals? How might our small acts of compassion ripple out to change the world? And how can we, like Tommy and Max, remain open to the wonderfully unexpected possibilities that exist in our relationships with the creatures who share our planet? As we conclude this remarkable tale of Tommy and Max, I invite you to pause and consider your own relationships with the animals in your life and environment. How might your perspective shift if you approach them with the same openness and empathy that Tommy showed to Max? Take a moment to observe the animals around you, be they pets, wildlife, or even the often overlooked creatures in your backyard. What signs of intelligence and emotion can you recognize? How might you deepen your connection with these beings? We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Have you ever had a moment of unexpected connection with an animal? How do you think our world would change if we could communicate more effectively with other species? Share your stories and ideas in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about how we can foster better relationships with the animals we share our lives and our planet with. If you found this story inspiring, please like and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. In our next video, we'll be exploring real-world innovations in animal-assisted therapy. You won't want to miss it. Remember, every interaction with an animal is an opportunity for learning and growth. Who knows? Your next encounter with a pet or wild animal could be the start of an extraordinary journey of healing and discovery.